Now, after a pretty disastrous game week in game week 16, I'm on 42 points and down to 388k overall. And here is my team selection for game week 17. So here is quickly how my team got on in game week 16. I won't go over this in complete detail because I already talked about it in my transfer plans video. 42 points, 388k overall. Sanchez, Timber, Nori and Aina in my defence. I'll take the clean sheet from Timber. I've no idea how Gabriel managed to get max bonus and Timber got nothing, but you know, we move on. Sanchez, 3-pointer. I'll take it. One thing I'm a little bit worried about with Sanchez, and we'll talk about a potential replacement for him in a second. I'm okay with him for game week 17 because it's on the weekend. But game week 18 is a midweek game week. And midweek game weeks in general, I think Enzo Maresca has an entirely different Chelsea team. So I'm a little bit worried that Sanchez is going to get benched again in 18. So I think I'm fine to play him in 17. A little bit worried about how he's going to fare in game week 18. Nori, stupid red card for him. Wolves obviously sat their manager. They're in turmoil at the moment. Nori, he's already gone out of my team. If you watched my transfer plans video, you'd know already who I bought, but I'll reveal that in a second. Aina, I thought I'd spread the risk on not doubling up on Chelsea defence because I didn't think ultimately they would probably keep a clean sheet against Brentford. I was right not to pick two because they didn't keep a clean sheet. Unfortunately, Aina didn't keep one against Aston Villa either. Rodgers, a blank for him. Palmer, I believe he got turned onto 1 bonus point. So thankfully our captain Salah, who outscored him, that probably saved me from having an absolutely disastrous game week, to be honest. So yeah, Palmer returning just 1 bonus point. Semenyo got subbed off early in the game against West Ham. There was a little bit of fear when he did get subbed that he had a hamstring injury. The manager did confirm, Iraola confirmed, it was just some hamstring tightness, which suggests that I think he'll be okay for game week 17. I never wish for a player to be injured, but having only owned him for a couple of game weeks, I wanted an excuse to get rid of him, to be honest. He did hit the post, or was it the post or crossbar? He hit the woodwork, I should probably say. So, you know, on a different day, could have been a different story, and he came away with a goal. So with that in mind, fine margins, yeah, probably should keep him. And then Salah as my captain, I'll take the assist. The guy is just a monster, isn't he? So consistent with returns every game. And again, I go back to that Liverpool-Fulham game. Robinson is definitely one of the best left-backs in the league and had a good game against Salah. But I do feel like if Robertson didn't get sent off, that could have been a more positive outlook for Salah, and he might have got a goal or something. Haaland with a blank against Man United. God knows why I've still got him in my team, to be honest. I see him as a potential captaincy option in coming game weeks, which we'll get to in this video. But with the way Man City are playing at the moment, I wouldn't be able to bring myself to captain him. But they've surely got to turn that form around at some point, right? Isak, who is currently probably the best forward in the game, goal and an assist for him. He is just absolutely mega, isn't he? I'm very happy to have him in my team. And then João Pedro, who I brought in for Raul Jimenez a few weeks back. Raul Jimenez has actually outscored João Pedro in that time. But I think one lesson I've learned with quite a lot of transfers I've made in FPL recently is that patience prevails quite a lot of the time. So whilst I could be knee-jerky and get rid of him because he hasn't performed since he's been in my team, ultimately I think I should probably keep him. All right, onto my team selection then. I mentioned Sanchez, not for game week 16 because I think he starts, but for game week 17 it could potentially be a sell. And with the money that I have in the bank with my team, I could potentially get Onana. I've been banging on in all of my recent videos basically that I think Onana will be the top scoring goalkeeper come the end of the season because he provides a perfect blend of saves per game and clean sheet potential. His fixtures are a little bit tricky in there, but like I said, I think he will be the top scoring goalkeeper come the end of the season. And ultimately with a goalkeeper, your best place to probably just pick one and run with them. And I think that's going to be the case for me with Onana. And the reason I would do that, and I said keep a goalkeeper all season and just stick with them, and I'm not doing that with Sanchez, is because I don't think Sanchez is going to play every game. I'm a little bit worried that Maresca has an agreement with the squad that he's got a weekend team and a midweek team or something like that. And I think with game week 18 being a midweek sort of kickoff time, he could be benched. So that's just something I've got in mind. And if I were to replace Sanchez, it would be for Onana. So I mentioned making an early transfer to get rid of Aït-Nouri, and I bought in Anthony Robinson. So I did have 3 free transfers before I did that. I've now got 2 left, 0.6 million in the bank. For game week 16, I'm quite comfortable starting Sanchez against Everton. And the decision I've got to make basically is who out of Colwill, Greaves and Aina do I start? At the moment, I'm on double Chelsea defence because I think they've got a semi-decent chance of keeping a clean sheet against Everton. I don't think Everton are all that good from an attacking perspective. So yeah, I'm backing them to keep a clean sheet as it stands, but things might change. Aina's got Brentford away, which I'd suggest is a pretty tough fixture. I always see Brentford scoring, and despite Nottingham Forest being really strong defensively, I probably think Brentford scoring that one, particularly at home for Brentford, right? So I'm going to bench likely Aina, and then Greaves. I'm not sure Ipswich keep a clean sheet against Newcastle, particularly when Isak's in the form that he is. So I think this is probably the best way to line up. Timber, obviously very happy to keep him. I'm very pleased with my decision to bring him in over Gabriel because despite him not necessarily getting all the points, I think just by starting all the games, whereas Gabriel's been he's missed a few, hasn't he? I think that's probably paid off. And ultimately, in the most cases, I think the points when they've both been in the team have kind of balanced out. There was one game where I bought Timber in and Gabriel scored and got an assist and it was a disaster. And then after that, Gabriel wasn't in the squad. Timber kept a clean sheet and scored a goal. So, you know, there's lots of ups and downs with that move. But I think saving the cash for Timber has paid off so far. Robinson, Southampton at home. They've just sacked Russell Martin, their manager. I mean, what better fixture to want for Fulham for that one? Really happy to have him. He looks really good from an attacking perspective. Fulham, not all that good for clean sheets. I think they've only kept 2 this season. But I think Southampton at home is a really good a game for a potential clean sheet. So as it stands, that's how I'm lining up defensively. So I brought in Antoine Semenyo a few weeks ago. I bought him in from Mbumo, which, by the way, has been an absolute disaster. Mbumo, leading up to that transfer, had 1 shot in 5 games. So I took out Mbumo and Chris Wood for Semenyo and Isak. I'm very pleased to have Isak, but I'm not too pleased to have Semenyo. In that time, Semenyo has done nothing, and Mbumo has got 2 double-digit hauls. And we've got here his history from the last 5 game weeks. 0 attacking returns for Semenyo in the last 5 game weeks. However, he still had 17 shots in the box, so that's 3 shots in the box per game, over 3 shots in the box per game, put up just over 1 XG, and if you round it up, an expected assist as well. So, you know, had that come to fruition and he'd taken his chances, he'd be on 2 attacking returns from those 5 appearances, and he might be looking a bit of a better option. But the fact of the matter is, 5 appearances, 0 goals. So he is potentially on the chopping block. I don't think he is injured. I think he will be fit for Game Week 17. Important to say that. I would have immediately, I think, took him out, or had no hesitation taking him out if he was injured. But, you know, I think he'll be fit for that Man United away fixture. Speaking of Man United, a potential replacement I could go for is Ahmad. Comparing the two over the same duration of fixtures, the last 5 fixtures, for some reason, Ahmad's got 6 appearances in 5 anyway. Ahmad's got 7 attacking returns in that period of time, but the XG and XA is pretty similar. 1.22 for Semenyo, 0.53 for Semenyo, 1.22, 0.47 for Ahmad. So what that suggests, I think, is that Semenyo, over that course of time, has been equally as dangerous as Ahmad is. It's just Ahmad has been the one getting the attacking returns. So Ahmad is one option I could potentially replace Semenyo with. One thing I would say, though, is Man United have a Carabao Cup game midweek, and I'm just not 100% sure that Ahmad is as nailed in the Man United lineup as Semenyo is. I think he's great. I think at the moment he's probably their best attacking player, but he doesn't have a historic record of consistently playing 90 minutes. And that would make me think there's a potential benching coming at some point for him. Whereas I do believe as long as he's fit to start 17, Semenyo will remain in the team. And if he's fit, play 90. So another option is Enzo Fernandez, who in his last 6 appearances has got 7 attacking returns, sorry. But again, the underlying numbers are not all that great, but the expected assist is better. So what I'm essentially saying is I could potentially replace Semenyo with one of Ahmad or Enzo Fernandez, who over the same period of 5 to 6 game weeks have put up far superior numbers. I'm probably going to get some stick for this, but I think back to a lot of transfers I've made this season, right? Luxury transfers. In some cases, I don't think I've made a true luxury transfer, where a case where I've swapped one player with similar expected minutes for another one. I've only made those kinds of transfers where I don't believe one of my players is fully nailed on, or where they really, really dropped off the boil in terms of form and they're really not performing. I look at Semenyo, and yes, he's not put up the attacking returns, but he's still put up better underlying numbers over that 5 game week period than, say, Mbeumo did when he had his run of 5 games without any returns. I think I was justified, still think I was justified to take Mbeumo out with what we saw from him. And I think with that logic in mind around luxury transfers and just being patient with players, I think I need to give Semenyo some patience. You know, Man United away, it's quite tough, but ultimately, like, you wouldn't rule out Bournemouth being able to score in that game. Then he's got Crystal Palace and then Fulham. I know I've just bought Robinson in from Fulham, but you couldn't rule out him being able to score, I think, in all 3 of those games. Another player who I didn't even speak about is Rodgers. I think he's doing just slightly better than Semenyo, but he's not been in fantastic form either recently. But I do think actually targeting the Man City fixture with the form that they're in at the moment is not a bad thing at all to do. So I'm happy to play him in that one. I'm actually a little bit worried about that Newcastle away fixture. I think that could be quite a tough one for Villa. But yeah, I'm happy to keep Rodgers, and ultimately I think I should keep hold of Semenyo. Salah and Palmer in there, obviously no reason to get rid of them. There is just a decision to make on captaincy, and we'll get to that later. So I'll get to the Game Week 17 captaincy later, but it's important to talk about captaincy in coming game weeks in relation to the forwards that I have, because if you remember looking at my points, I've still got Erling Haaland in my team. And the reason, it sounds mad, I know, but the reason I want to persist with Haaland is because I think he is a potential captaincy option in game weeks 19, 20 and 21. I look at the Leicester away fixture. It's at West Ham. I'm looking a bit close here. West Ham and Brentford. I think potentially in all of those game weeks, he could be the best captain. And I just think at some point, surely Man City have to turn their form around, right? They cannot persist to be as bad as they have been in the league. I really do think it is a temporary blip. How long the temporary blip will go on for, I don't know. But I do think it is a temporary blip that they will come out the other side of. I guess the only concern is how long will it last for? Will it take a couple of signings in January to transform them, etc., etc.? But given that I still have Haaland, and I think he is a potential captaincy shout for game weeks 19, 20 and potentially 21, I think ultimately I'm going to keep hold of him for this time. And I think Villa away, Everton at home, Leicester away, that's a pretty good run of fixtures for Man City. I don't necessarily think they win all the games, but I think from a goal scoring perspective, they have a chance of scoring in all of them. So I'm going to keep hold of Haaland. Obviously, no reason to get rid of Isak. I actually think Isak is in the captaincy conversation for Game Week 17. I probably won't do it, but I think Ipswich away is obviously a really good fixture. And João Pedro, who I said has been underperforming in my team recently, I'm going to go to the same logic I have with Semenyo and Rodgers, though, and remain patient with him, because ultimately I'll be chopping and changing for players of a similar price. I'm just chasing points, and it's not going to work out. West Ham, Brentford and Villa is a decent run of 3 fixtures for Brighton. Now he's on penalties. He's just not taking up the most attacking positions. That's the one sort of observation I have of him. But yeah, I'm going to stick with João Pedro. So as it stands, this is my 11. So looking at captaincy to finish things off, and we've got a team rating here. By the way, all of the expected points totals here you see under the players is courtesy of Fantasy Football Hub. During the Christmas period, they're offering 30% off plus a free month if you sign up using the link in the description below. So if you want to manage your teams looking at the next 3 game weeks expected points, you get an expected points total for the team and an AI rating as well. You also get AI suggested transfers. If you want all of that, you get it totally free for a month and then 30% off as well. From then, you can sign up in the link in the description below. So my captaincy decision, I would say, is between Palmer and Salah. And unfortunately, say sign up for Fantasy Football Hub for the expected points. And I guess it's an honest figure, right? They're exactly the same. So looking at expected points alone, there's nothing to separate the 2 players. For me, though, I think I'm going to go for Mo Salah. I actually think, now the stats might not back it up totally, but with Branthwaite returning and Everton being at Goodison Park, I actually personally believe that playing Everton is a tougher fixture from an attacking perspective for a team than playing Tottenham. I think Palmer will have a tougher time scoring than Salah will. You know, both players are also on penalties. They're both nailed for 90 minutes. There's nothing to separate them there. But Salah also has just been so consistent with his returns this season and so reliable. And that was proven in Game Week 16, right? He only got an assist, but that was still more than Palmer managed to put up. So, yeah, from his consistency, the quality of the fixture, I also think Tottenham away is a better fixture than Everton. I had some comments when speaking about that on my transfer plans video, but I do genuinely believe that to be the case. We'll see how the Carabao Cup action plays out. But I think right now, I'm going to captain Salah. All right, well, that's how I'm lining up for Game Week 17, and that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If you did, please leave me a like rating. Let me know in the comments if there are any other changes you'd make to my team. I'd be interested to hear it. And if you haven't already and enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the Goal to Goal channel. I think around 75% of people that are watching my videos at the moment aren't subscribed. So if you could subscribe, that'd be great. I'm trying to hit 11,000 subscribers before the end of the year. If we could do that, I'd be absolutely over the moon. All right, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video.